Hey, hello, this is Steve here from the Agile Mastery Show, and today's topic is how to build a high performing team. Plain and simple, very easy, podcast over. No, it is, well, first of all, it's probably the biggest objective for any Scrum Master or Agile coach, fundamentally. Um, and that's really, the role isn't about delivering faster, about being able to ensure that the team are working better, and that the organization as a whole is operating more effectively. Yes, that helps, but the Scrum Master role is to build a high performing team. That's it. Like, you are the linchpin, the centerpiece to enable the team to work at a high performance continuously, consistently. So it's not that you get to that position and then everyone can go home. Brilliant, we've done a great job. This is the idea is that you're putting in the ways of working, the behaviors, the cultural connections, the systems for a team to thrive continuously and ongoing, and essentially to make yourself redundant for that team. Because once your team gets to a position of high performance continuously, you they no longer need somebody focusing on them all the time and giving them everything that they need, because it's almost like you're setting them up so they are doing it as in second nature. They're not thinking about it, it's just happening. So a team that is not at that position, an immature team, to want of a better phrase, is absolutely needs the Scrum Master role, because you're there focusing in on the gaps, helping them to bridge the gaps that are preventing them from becoming a high performing team. Does that make sense? So once you are able to do that and fulfill that role, they no longer need you, right? And that's okay. Brilliant. You get to a position where you're redundant in that particular team, but what happens is that other leaders and other teams start to notice what's going on, and they understand that you're the guy. You're the one who is making it happen. You're the conductor, right? And and your profile will start to rise, and you'll become um, in high demand, not just in the organization, but also beyond the organization, because things do start to happen. So so the main objective has to be about designing and building a high performing team continuously, and then you can start stepping away from them because they don't need you anymore, and you can move on to bigger and greater things, maybe even more advanced roles, maybe going to work with other teams who are in more of a need at that time. So, and this is what I instill on the mindset of the Scrum Masters that I work with, the Agile coaches that I work with. This is the first thing that we work on, is helping them to understand their objective and their purpose. Because if we have real purpose, understanding our why, just like Simon Sinek said, then we can do great things. It's super motivating, but it gives us the passion and the drive that will help us to really get to that place. Because if you understand your purpose and your why, and you've got great passion for it, it's unstoppable, right? Because your confidence levels will grow, your level of influence will grow as a result, because you are doing great things and people are starting to listen, people are starting to see the work that you're doing. If you just go through the motions of the role and, textbook agile, the Scrum guide says, so this is what we do. The manual of Scrum, not the guide of Scrum, but the manual of Scrum. If you just go through the motions, the basics, it gets you so far. But it becomes, you will become bored of it eventually, because it just becomes the same thing. So that's why it's absolutely essential that you have this real focus and purpose and an objective. It's deeper than objective. It's more, it's more intangible than a goal, right, or an objective. It is a purpose. It's that real deep inner drive that's going to get you there. And that's what we work on with my Scrum Masters when I'm mentoring and coaching them, is helping them to really define that and help them. What do we mean by high performing team, though? What does it actually mean? It's a buzzword, right? It's like flavor of the month, high performance. The best analogy I can give, and I always give this, is Formula One team. And those who are not into Formula One, you might have some understanding of how a Formula One team can work, because you would have seen in some guise or another what happens when they stop for refuel. The driver stops to refuel and to wipe the visor and to change the wheels, or change the tires. Um, you would have seen that. So it's not. I'm hoping I'm not losing half the audience here by using this analogy. You will have some understanding of what a Formula One team does, a motor racing team does. But it is the epitome of high performance, because I mean, many years ago, the Formula One team, it would take something like 7 or 8 seconds to go through a series of tasks, and everybody has their role and their support backup, and the three main things that they have to do is change the tires, wipe the visor, and fill with fuel. And the actual time to fill up the car would take 7 or 8 seconds, which is why it took so long. But changing the tires would be like 2-3 seconds done. Like, unbelievable pace for that to happen. Now, this team, right? I'm using this shape because they're surrounding around the car, so the car moves into position, and they have their set structure, their set setup is that they have this place where they go in, and they're coming in at like 40-50 miles an hour, right? And they have to come to a stop. There's a guy that stands there with the thing to say stop, and it goes to a point, and they're like, and then it used to take 7 or 8 seconds, but that was only because of the fuel that it would take that long. They would wipe the visor so that the driver was able to, he doesn't have that opportunity. That literally one person's job was just to wipe the visor, and sometimes I think nowadays they just strip off a peel off a layer, and then go, right, and then you're off. Now, in motorsport, motor racing, the loss of 1 second is it's so it can be so detrimental to the race, and in most races, the pit stop can be the difference between winning and losing the race, or your position in the race. And some teams will use the pit stop as a strategy in order to get ahead of a driver who's perhaps ahead of them. Um, it's very strategic. Very, it can get very technical, but I want to try and keep it very much sort of behavior, team activity driven. So it's not, let's not get too technical about it. Nowadays, the Formula One teams will take literally about 2.5 to 3 seconds to pit stop. Bang! Like, it took me longer to say that sentence than it would for the team to stop, change the tires, wipe the visor, fill the fuel, and go. Right? And and that's only because they've speeded up the amount that the fuel can get into the car. They speeded up the time on that, so it's gone down from like 7 or 8 seconds, which just seemed crazy, to now it's 2 or 3 seconds, which is just like but brain cannot compute with that kind of speed in to make and just to be so precise, and bam, and it happens. And like, so a a Formula One team being able to move at that pace, and this takes practice. Like, they are practicing this constantly. This is a machine. Like, it is basically an automation that they are designing, but it's human automation. It's incredible to watch. Like, blink and you can miss it. It's so quick, right? If you ever get the opportunity, if you're not into motorsport, just look up, check out a high performing Formula One team, the pit stop, and you will see. So that's the reason I use the analogy, is that the the team, everyone has their role. They support each other. Um, there is an automation about it. It's done so quickly that, and it's like it's synchronization. It is so uh, it's done in such a smooth and slick way that you cannot help but be wowed by it. It's like, that. It's really impressive, and so that's the reason I use the analogy, is that that team probably doesn't need a scrum master, because they are they just are in such synchronization. They know what they've got to do. They have their purpose. They have their drive. They know exactly what they're doing. Everyone is working together. They probably have a bit of competition with the other pit stop teams as well, because they want to see if we can get it a split second faster than the record, or whatever it is. So they're always striving to go faster. So that happens. Um, but back to a typical agile team, a Scrum team or a Kanban team, the role of Scrum Master being able to enable that, so that they are in a position that they are working in that way, where they are just, it's like an orchestra, and they are working in synchronization with each other. They're supporting each other. They have their focus, they have their purpose, they know exactly what they've got to do, and they are striving to improve continuously, right? Does that make sense? Does that you can see the linkage there? That's essentially what a product or service team will be doing, is that they're always looking to improve, and to have that synchronization. And once you have that, once you, as a scrum master, it's like utopia, right? Once you see that happening, you're like, huh, they don't need me anymore. They are they're at a they're at a place that I can literally don't do no more here for them. Like my work is done essentially, and and then it's time to step away. So once you can get to that point, that's that's really, I mean, it's an amazing achievement to get to that point. And this is what I would love for you to get to that, because it's not impossible. It's really difficult. It relies on everyone in the team pulling in the same direction and sharing that that purpose. Right? They've got to really want to strive for that success, just like the Formula One team want to always be. They're part of a bigger picture, part of a bigger purpose, right? Um, so once you have that, it's amazing, and then you have a measurable impact that you can shout about, and you can go, "Hey, look, this is what I've done. I, as a Scrum Master, I've done that. This this type of performance, a product or service team being able to deliver at pace continuously and be um, and just be in synchronization and just oozing agile and being able to continuously improve and strive for for just even greater things. That it's not possible without a Scrum Master. It's just not possible. It just won't happen. There's too much focus on the individual role. There's too much focus on um, the, there's too much to think about. There's the systems. There's dependencies. There's unbelievable amounts of things which we'll get into in a minute as to what will slow that down. Without a Scrum Master, think of an orchestra without a conductor. These are great musicians who can do amazing things with their own instrument and their own skills. But if you take the conductor away, they just become a team of individuals. The conductor there just making this sort of beautiful music that plays. I'm overrun with analogies today, but I wanted to give you that real insight into how what's why it's essential to have a Scrum Master in the team. Okay, so if you get to that position, if you get to that point where you can get the team to a place of high performance, then it becomes something that you will be able to really shout about, and people will listen and they will take notice, and they will see that you're the person, you're the one responsible for helping them to achieve it, because they know it's not possible without somebody focused on the team and driving them and really helping them to enabling them, right? That's it, enabling them and giving them everything they need to succeed, clearing the path. But there are things that will get in the way of that. There are three things, right? There are three distinct areas of performance that will slow down performance. Things that will just get in the way. They're not small, but you have to really be very, very cognizant of exactly what it is, what's going on at any one point, and be able to categorize them so that you can then do something about it and be really aware, have that real awareness of those things. The first one is external constraints. Okay, these are things that it's not beyond your control. It's out of your control, but it's not beyond your capability of working with, right? Um, so these are things like dependencies. These are things like process constraints, approval steps, um, tooling that just doesn't, basic like environmental problems, sort of deep strategic changes that are going on, priorities that might shift. All of these things are, it's just really be really clear and be really aware that they are going on, but also be linking them back to how they're impacting the team. That's what you need to be able to do, is to be able to link back how these constraints, how these blockers are really getting in the way of your team, and be having the kind of conversations with your stakeholders, with your wider, first line or value stream level management, to help them to understand, help them to see how it is affecting them, how it is what's getting in the way, what's the impact to your team. And don't be afraid to provide, to actually provide the information. It's holding up a mirror, right? It's bringing awareness. They don't know, they don't see, they will be so caught up in the general, the big stuff that's going on outside of the team. They won't know what sort of impact these things are having on the team. So it's up to you to really bring that, surface it through Scrum of Scrums, through whatever it is you use, but really bring them in and help them to see it. Don't be afraid to show them. Give them the story. Give them the understanding. Impact score, solution, right? How, I say this to my teenage son. I say, don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. Don't come to me with complaints. Come to me with solutions. Come and tell me, what do we need? What do I need to do to fix it? Or what do you need from me to be able to fix it? Don't come to me and complain. Just say, like, what can we do about it? So it works. It works as a parent as well as well as a business leader. But yeah, so you know, you have a way. If you don't have an escalation system, a process, then work with your leadership team to create one, because it's vital. You need to be able to show the various different impediments, issues that they need to fix, and give them as much information as you can about it, so they can do some root cause analysis and all sorts of things so that making sure that, it might not just be your team that's affected by this problem. It might be other teams as well. They need to figure out how to resolve it, how to prevent it happening again, that kind of thing. So external constraints is one thing, but it's not beyond your control. It's out of your control, but it's something that you can help manage, work with your leadership teams to fix it. Second one is internal constraints, right? These are things that just basically come up. Maybe it's the retrospectives, maybe it's the things that kind of get in the way just generally. These are some things that you can control, but really take the time to not just fix it, but to help overcome it as a do some root cause analysis as well, like just really looking into some of the big things that are coming up and getting in the way, and creating a real understanding of the system, and how things are impacting the team that is within the control of the team, so that the same impediments don't keep coming up and keep happening all the time. So internal. I mean, the Scrum Master's role isn't just to fix or to help support the removal of blockers. It's also to be a lot more preventative as well, so that you can, it's really just trying to kind of build a much better. You need to acquire the skill of the systems thinker to really see how things are impacting the team, as it were, and if it's within your control, then then great. So do some analysis on how you can prevent it in the future, but also, what's the deep rooting cause? Might not always be the thing that's on the surface that's the problem. It might be something that's deeper. Be curious. Be curious. Always be questioning what is really happening here. What's really going on. What am I seeing here? It might not just be what's going on the surface. Try and dig a little bit deeper. Ask the question. It's a great skill to have, is curiosity. It's a really good skill. I think in one of my earlier podcasts, I just talked about curiosity and being really curious. Third one is culture. Now, culture and things like trust and behaviors, lack of accountability. Brilliant book, Five Dysfunctions of a Team. It's a brilliant book. If you haven't read it, go and read it. It will serve you so well in your role. But it really does help build culture. But a bad culture is going to smash the hell out of your team. Okay, so you need to be very, very mindful and aware of some of the gnarly kind of toxic environment and culture, or just this sort of general atmosphere that's going on. So much harder when you're a remote team. So much harder if people don't have their cameras on. If they, if you're seeing that kind of apathy in the team, that can be just as damaging as like active conflict, right? If you've just got apathy where people don't really care, they're not really engaged, it's really, really important to be switched on to that kind of stuff, because it can really kill the team, especially if it's just one person or two people. It can spread really quickly. So be really aware of this kind of stuff. And I always say, by working with just one team, if you can, will serve you so well in your role and help you to build that high performing team. If you're spread so thin across multiple teams, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, because you need to go deep into the team to really understand and see and take a step back on a daily basis and look at how they're getting on, how they're functioning, how they're working together. Who are the quiet ones? What are making sure that you're spending time one to one with everybody, so that you can really understand what's really going on for people, and you're ensuring that your improvements are actively happening, that the team are continuously moving forward. If you're spread out, when I was Scrum Master years and years ago, I worked on, I had 6 teams at any one time. We were on like 16 projects or something at various different parts of the process. And by the time I finished the daily stand-ups, I couldn't, my brain, my cognitive load to the first stand-up, well, I just couldn't recall. I had to write down everything, which is what you should do anyway, but trying to decipher through some of my notes from the first stand-up. And of course, I'm going from back to back into stand-ups. The team one are not getting the level of support and service straight away that they need. They might have some urgent things they got to deal with. I'm running around like crazy trying to manage it. So if you are working with 2 teams maximum, 3 at a real push, the third team should be in a high performing state, and you're standing way back from them, and just literally, coordinating from afar. But yeah, 1 team, 2 teams max. So you can go really deep and pick up the signals of how they are working together, and what's the culture doing, and how they're, what are the soft unsaid things that are going on. So you can be really super aware. And journaling, write this stuff down, use it as a place to bounce ideas off of. What am I seeing? What's going on? So those are the three the three big areas that are going to get in the way of high performance, right? Take those three things away, or you make it your mission to to make sure that the team are working without constraints and without and have a really powerful, collaborative, um, energetic culture that they're everyone's really tight and working together, and they've got that Formula One pit stop team mentality. Then you can really get into it. Build an escalation system that you can work with your leadership teams to try and remove some of the big things that are just slowing the team down, but really highlighting how the team are being affected by it, and then also the internal constraints. Focusing in on looking at root cause, going deeper, really trying to help the team figure it out, how to remove some things that are getting in the way, and happening over and over again, and that kind of stuff. Fix those things, and my goodness, the team will literally get to such a powerful place, and then you can really build a case study around that. Some of the things that you've done with the team, some of the initiatives that you implemented, and then fundamentally, really powerfully, is the measures. What was the measure at the start of the initiative or the intervention that you made, and uh, what is the measure at the end, so that you can then go and shout that from the hilltops, and people will notice, and they will listen, and they will be wowed by it, right? And you've made a real difference, and you will only thrive and go forth and go further. And how will you measure these things? So OKRs is a really good one. You can have internal OKRs, um, you know, down to things like lead time, cycle time is a really good one to do. But the OKR should really be, the objective should be how to build a high performing team. That's your objective. How do you measure that? Yeah, cycle time, lead time, happiness score is a good one. The team are particularly not very happy, or there's just not a good energy. You can always do a very quick survey with them, find out what their happiness score is, and then at the end of the initiative or intervention, what the happiness score, how that's changed, so that you can just start to see how it's improved, all these kind of things. So that hopefully has given you a real good understanding of what it means to be a high performing team and how you can get there. But what I'd really love to do is to offer you the opportunity to come and work with me on the high performing challenge. And I will be spending 5 days with you, and I will give you all of the tools and techniques that I've used to help teams and help Scrum Masters to build high performing teams. You'll have a 12-week roadmap that will help you sort of figure out a real plan to get a team to high performance in 3 months, right? That'll be your mission. Okay. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to build a high performing team in 3 months. And you'll get all the tools, all of the techniques, all of the sort of soft skills to work on, and to figure out where the gaps are for you and your team in the 5-day challenge. So over the course of 5 days, you'll walk out of that, and you'll be able to take that with you and go, oh my, I'm really thriving here. And you'll have it. You'll be on a mission then. That's your mission. You're like, you will come out of that, and you'll be like, your mind will be blown, but the energy that you will have, the motivation and aspiration, and the you would just be wanting to just dive straight in. Um, so it's a great 5 days. It's an hour a day every day for 5 days. And you'll have some homework to do, and some test and learn to do with your teams. But fundamentally, at the end of 5 days, you'll have the kit, you'll have the pack that you'll be working with. Right, now I can go and do it, and we'll be working together throughout that. You'll be messaging, and we'll work. You'll get loads of support and guidance. So come along to that. I'll put the link to the challenge in the show notes. Sign up, get yourself on board, and it's going to be amazing for you. I'd love for you to get you to a place where you can actually help your team to get to a place of high performance because you took the challenge, and then watch your career just, because your career will take off. That it's inevitable. The confidence levels that you will have, the other teams that will see, the leadership teams that will see, they will just be like, that's who we want on our team. We want that person to come, and we've got this really difficult project. We want uh, Kimberly, or we want Mark to come and join this team, because we know that they're going to actually help that team to thrive and become, you know, superpower team. All right, that's all for today. If you like this stuff, um, I do this, and I also do interviews as well. We've got some great interviews coming up, so look out for those. If you like this, do subscribe, and you get notified of when new things come along, and it's great. It doesn't cost you anything. You can just press the button, and you get amazing content like this, just to go, oh, I'm learning some stuff here, and it costs you nothing, and it does me a great service. So hopefully we can help each other. All right, that's all for today. Thank you, and see you on the other side. Bye bye.